Jeff Townsend Media. It's a huge, incredible, tremendous platform. It's not stupid and it's not fake news. Lots of money. Believe me, it's the best.
It still gets you every time, doesn't it?
Yeah, every time.
You enjoy that every single time. All right. How you doing, dude? We're going to go here in a minute. I'm going to get a couple more live things loaded up here. How you doing, dude?
Pretty good. A few days ago, I was cutting onions in my kitchen on a mandolin slicer and I sliced open my thumb. So it's, it's healing, and so I'm feeling pretty good about that.
You have the craziest things happen to you.
Yeah. I do a lot of stuff, so a lot of things happen to me because
you work out.
I do just random things.
Yeah, it's your
Yeah.
You work out, bro. I think I'm gonna get this here. We are gonna get this. Okay, go over to here. Load this all up here. Top secret stream key that they don't want anybody to know, so they gray it out.
Yeah, keep this secret.
That's what they do. Okay, did I get it added onto here? Let's see, go over to here. See if it picks it up or not. We're going to go live. We're going to go and start here in about, I don't know, 30 seconds, hopefully. I'm connecting up the last social media here, if it'll work even.
Yeah. We got our producer in the chat.
Viv Games, everybody. He says it's spooky time. Everybody wants Kung Fu Spooky. He didn't say that, but he should have.
Next time.
Yeah, next time. Is this thing going to work or not? It's like a battle, just constant battle, you know?
Yeah. Getting different streaming things to work and different social medias to cooperate.
Yeah. Try one more time here. I'm pumped up. I think I got it. Oh, there it is again. There's that echo.
It's weird because last time it wasn't even on. You just had to turn it off and on.
Talk now.
Am I coming through again? No, I think we're good. I think they got rid of the echo.
This thing is vicious.
It's weird.
How does it sound, Viv Games? How do we sound before we go live here? We sound good?
He definitely
any weird feedback or anything going on?
I always wonder how far behind some of the people are on our stream. It's got to be like 30 seconds or so.
You got to think, yeah. You would think it would be.
He says it sounds good to him.
Sounds good. You don't hear my feedback at all? No echo or anything? You don't hear it either?
I don't. No.
Cool. Let's do it. All right. This is Jeff Townsend, and Luke is joining me, of course, for yet another live stream of your scary stories. This show where we share your scary stories, our collection of scary stories from around the web. Had a little bit of a tongue twister there. Live every other Monday-ish, approximately. We'll just say twice a month. How's that sound? How are you doing, Luke?
Pretty good.
You got your zombie shirt on again this week?
I do have my zombie shirt on again this week. It's just a nice color. It's actually a very comfortable shirt. It might not be immediately obvious, but it's like really nice fabric.
It's the best?
It's definitely the best. It's not fake news.
I'm going to unhook this just in case here.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. So it's going to be another awesome night this evening. We're going to have 5 stories as usual. I guess something could pop up along the way that actually does tend to happen. Sometimes somebody will pop in and share something or whatever, but sometimes we get stories in the moment sent to us. But the plan is 5 stories. Of course, Luke will do the 3. I'll do the 2. I have a video one as usual. And Luke, you've been, I don't know which story you're sharing about. There's one story tonight in particular that you're really excited about.
That one's going to be my ending one. It's the crescendo. But I got a couple that I'm also, they're all pretty exciting ones. This first one I've got that's like a little different. It's going to be fun. I don't know. I like all these stories tonight, so I'm excited.
Well, I'm excited too. Let's go ahead and get some music queued up, and I'll let you kick things off. I did this video one tonight. I'm curious what you think about it. It's like an old classic paranormal video.
I'm looking forward to it.
Find your background music. Wait for it to go here. Probably cut you off for a little while. We can't hear you. Try it now. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now, so I think we're good.
Can you hear the music? I never can. So
Yeah, I can hear it.
okay,
good.
I'll mute up, and you are good to go, dude.
Alrighty. The name of this story is Alien Descent. I've always been fascinated by the idea of aliens and UFOs, but never in my wildest dreams did I think I would actually encounter one. I was outside late one night. As I looked up to the sky, I saw a bright spinning light slowly descending towards my driveway. I couldn't believe my eyes as the UFO landed in front of me. I watched in complete awe as the ship slowly descended to the ground and suddenly, with a blinding flashlight, sped off into the night. As I stood there trying to process what had just happened, I began to hear strange and unsettling noises all around me. Slithering and rustling sounds coming from the bushes, and I couldn't shake the feeling that something was watching me. Suddenly, I heard my cat Sebastian let out a loud, blood-curdling screech, followed by what sounded like bones crunching. I came to the terrifying and heartbreaking realization that whatever was out there had just killed and eaten my cat. Panic set in as I turned around to run back inside, but as I did, I saw something that froze me in my tracks. A creature stood before me, unlike anything that I had ever seen before. It had a snake-like body, a human-like head with black eyes, pointed ears, gray skin, and sharp teeth, and two small arms. It was staring at me with a sinister smile that stretched from ear to ear. I didn't waste any more time. I ran as fast as I could back into the house, slamming the door shut and locking it behind me. I could hear the creature scratching at the door trying to get in. I felt somewhat safer inside the house, but I couldn't shake the feeling that it was only a matter of time before it found a way inside. From that night on, I've never gone outside again at night. I always keep all my doors and windows locked. The memory of that night still haunts me, and I can't shake the feeling that the thing that killed and ate my beloved cat is still out there.
Wow.
Started off a little gruesome with tonight's stories.
Yeah, you went straight into the dark side of the stories there.
Yeah.
The pet. I mean, that's crazy. So, a little bit of a recap here. You can help me walk through it here.
Yeah.
He's outside, and is this his yard?
Yeah, he says he's like outside in his driveway, and he's just kind of like just out there, probably walking the cat, as you guys say I do. But he's.
Well, I guess when an outside cat is, you're outside, it follows you around.
Yeah, and so he was out there, and then he saw something landing, not too far away, and then it took off, presumably after depositing some sort of creature on the ground, and then it snuck around and got to his cat and ate it.
There's more to the story than that, but we'll just stop right there for a minute. So I wonder how far this was from his house. Gosh, had to be a little off in the distance, right? How did he describe this UFO?
He said it was at the end of his driveway. So what I'm assuming is that he probably has a house that's further back from the road, and that this is a longer drive. So like, not very far from him.
That's nuts. So it couldn't have been the biggest thing ever to land in his driveway, you wouldn't think.
No, I guess it's like a Dodge.
Yeah, it's not like a spaceship, right? So
No.
it definitely comes from the sky and
Yeah.
lands in his driveway, though. We can confirm that at least.
And then it took back off out into the sky.
Okay, what's Viv saying here? Makes you wonder, did he mention if they left behind the creature? Yeah, was there anything else in the comments here?
No. no comments at all on this story. So like I haven't been able to get any more information. But
Is
yeah,
Luke's screen flashing just on my end, or is that your guys'? Is there an alien in his
I don't know. I
vicinity?
didn't notice. I was looking at my phone just now to double check that story, make sure there was no comments. Uh,
Yeah, I'm
it's
fine with.
possible. It's possible that one of these screens, like there's two monitors here, and so
Yeah,
one of them might refresh
yeah,
slightly
it's
weird.
okay. I've got a terrible lighting situation that I'm trying to work through, so it's all good.
Yeah,
But describe this creature again. Viv Games is really into it. It said it had snake-like arms, or what? What
a
was it?
snake-like body, so kind of slender and like could move a bit. I'm guessing a human-like head with black eyes and pointy ears, and gray skin with razor sharp teeth, and then two small arms.
Did
So
he? So did he witness this happen to his pet, or did he hear it, or
he heard the animal scream and then bones crunching. He didn't see
God?
it be eaten.
God, it's
He just
terrifying.
encountered it presumably after it had eaten the cat.
I could confirm it's my screen that's doing this weird flashing. I don't know. Anyway, I'm literally looking at the corner of my screen and see it. But that would be terrifying. I don't. So, did he say if he ran up to it, like he being himself? I mean, evidently his cat did.
Right. So I think the thing encountered the cat and ate it, but he turned around, and as he was going back to his house, he saw it.
I think if I instantly saw something like that, I would just book it from my house. I don't even know if I'd stick around to see a creature,
Yeah. Yeah. I
or
think
maybe I would. I don't know. It's easy to say what I would or wouldn't do.
it was apparently a pretty quick set of circumstances here. Him hearing it, and he turns to run to inside his house, and then that's when he sees it.
Well, let's not forget what you said last week. You'd punch the ghost, or that was 2 weeks ago. I'm editing it right now.
Yeah.
You would have punched that ghost hanging from the door frame. So I guess you would have ran out there to punch that alien.
I mean, if I had a stick, as I've said,
You gotta always have the stick. I mean,
I
if you
could
have the
have
stick, if you have the stick, you are good.
yeah. But
Oh,
this sounds like a much more dangerous creature.
how tall was it? Did it say?
He didn't say. He just kind of made it seem like it was kind of tall, but not necessarily. He didn't really specify.
Did he say it was huge? He didn't say that.
No, he didn't say that at all.
That's a cool story to start the night off with. It's
Yeah, I think so. That was fun. Kind of gruesome, a little weird.
so many people have experiences like this. Luckily, I guess it didn't
Break in.
I guess you could say.
Yeah. Didn't abduct it.
Alien abduction. Yeah, that's good. Happy for him there. But still, nonetheless, it's creepy as hell.
Yeah.
I don't I'm just trying to picture going outside and I see this damn spaceship land in my driveway. Like
Yeah.
what I would do. I don't know if I'd hang around though.
Yeah. I think as soon as you
Far
start to
away,
see,
right? Because he saw a creature, I guess, sooner rather than later.
yeah. So either it was like running through the bushes pretty quickly and got up there. I don't know. But yeah, definitely. I would say if you start seeing a UFO landing in your driveway, you should probably just get out of there.
You think the cat was an alien?
Maybe.
Like a rival alien
And
species?
it's entirely possible this alien wasn't necessarily evil. Maybe it's like Alf. Alf ate
Oh
cats.
gosh. Oh gosh, that's awesome.
He was just going to start cracking some jokes afterwards. Who knows?
Oh, dude, that's a good one to start the night off with. I
I
guess
thought
I can start queuing up for mine.
so. Okay.
I just picturing that thing now going after the cat.
Yeah.
All playfully, right? Like you just
Yeah.
still, yeah. It's actually not funny, I guess.
No.
Poor guy.
it's-
R.I.P. R.I.P. that guy's cat. Before we move on to the next story, I
Yeah.
want to take the time to say thank you for that story and sorry about your cat. When was this?
It was posted 6 months ago. I don't know how long before this supposedly happened, but he made it seem like it was recent.
Dude, we are thinking about you and your pet.
And also, it never specified if this is a man or woman. I've just been saying it could have been a female.
Yeah, we have a bad habit of doing that, don't we?
We do, but like, if there's nothing to go by, I just go with like whatever I think to say.
Viv says aliens love cats, according to Alf, the TV show.
Yeah.
All right, let me cue up the music for mine and start getting mine ready.
Alrighty.
Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Kinda. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, now I can hear you.
Okay, should be good. Sound good? Coming through well?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. This story is called Chris.
Oh, hang
and...
on. It cut out again. Sorry.
Oh, you're okay.
Yeah.
Am I right now?
Now you're good. Yeah.
Okay, I'll just talk for a second. You tell me if I stay connected. Am I sounding all right? Sounding
You sound good right now. Yeah.
Okay. Just unmute and then yell at me if it doesn't work, and I'll restart wherever. All right. The name of this story is Chris and Rick. I had just moved out of a share house in the suburbs and into my own shitty one-bedroom apartment in the city. I'm a male, and at the time, I was 25 years old. My apartment, while old and small, was located about 500 meters from one of the most popular night spots in the inner city. As I was in my mid-20s and out on my own, this was the perfect place for me. This was because my friends and I were quite social and would frequent bars and nightclubs in the city, and the taxi fares were starting to add up. Also, this new apartment was close to my work, so it made sense. I got settled in right away and invited my friends over for some pre-drinks before hitting the clubs. Due to the limited space in the apartment, this meant that some friends were inside and some were out on the hallway just out front of the door. We had the music up and just started enjoying our beverages, but between songs I could hear the couple next door arguing. Now the apartment was old and crappy, which meant thin walls too. So I pressed an ear to the wall in order to listen in. I hadn't met any of my new neighbors at this time, as I didn't take long to move in and I didn't really see any of them while I was moving in. I was curious. Judging from what I could determine while eavesdropping, they were a gay couple in their early 30s. One of the men was yelling at the other to go next door and tell us to keep the music down. The other was arguing that it was just a housewarming and to let it go for the night. Since I didn't want to cause trouble, I got everyone outside and eventually shut down the hangout in the apartment, and we started making our way out to the nightclub. My thought was to leave my new neighbors, in peace. Later that night, I came home alone as I was tired from the move and going out. I decided to let my friends carry on partying without me. I arrived at my door and proceeded to fumble around with my keys when I looked up to see a man standing on the hallway in front of the apartment next to me. He's smoking a cigarette. He was tall and thin with brown, oily hair. I noticed that he also had a cut lip and a faded but still visible black eye. I said, "Good day. Sorry about the noise earlier," correctly assuming he was my neighbor, hopefully. He replied, "Nah, you all right, mate. I'm Chris," and he shook my hand. I noticed his knuckles were red and a little bit scratched up, so I knew something was off. I apologized for the noise and said, "I hope I didn't cause any trouble for you." He withdrew his hand and with a soft but crackling voice said, "No, it's okay. Rick just gets a little bit cranky sometimes. I'm used to it." With that, I finished off the conversation and told Chris that I'd see him later. It was about 2 a.m. at this point, and I just wanted to get some sleep, but couldn't help worry about the potential domestic abuse going on next door. I decided to just keep an eye on it for now, as I didn't have all the information. For all I knew, he could have gotten into a fight with somebody else. As the weeks passed, I noticed that my new neighbor got intoxicated on a regular basis and would argue almost every time this happened. I could tell that Rick was the dominant one, as his voice was a lot deeper and Chris seemed to be afraid of him during these shouting matches. This is why I kept my distance and never really socialized with them. I would even hear them arguing about me and that Rick thought that Chris liked me, etc. That's just one example. I would just tune all of this out with my headphones and video games, not to mention the active social life I had and full-time work schedule. All these things kept me occupied. I did find myself avoiding having guests over because of the neighbors. I would opt to meet people out as their arguments could be quite upsetting. As their arguments could be quite upsetting to hear. This was working out fine enough for a while until Christmas Eve that same year. I was arriving home after coming home from last minute Christmas shopping. I was getting ready for a night of present wrapping as I was going to visit my family the following day for Christmas. As I arrived home, I noticed 2 police cars outside, and Anna, a woman who lived a few apartments up from Chris, was screaming. I asked her what was happening, and all she said was, "It's just so sad. It's just so sad," while sobbing. I could see 3 officers trying to restrain somebody, and there was blood on their uniforms. I came just a little bit closer to see Chris's oily brown hair in the center of all this chaos. His face was bleeding from his jaw, where he had apparently been slashed by something sharp. They got him to his feet, and I could see that his cheek had been cut, a very deep cut. He struggled and resisted with the police. I was in shock and went back to comfort Anna, the neighbor, who was crying uncontrollably at this point. Suddenly, Rick's voice boomed out from nowhere. "You see what you have done? You freaking loser! Just kill yourself!" This frightened me, and my instinct was to get myself and Anna to safety. Even though the cops were there, they had their hands full with Chris, and I certainly didn't want to get involved in such an ugly fight where something like a knife could have been involved. Anna refused to come with me and said that she would be fine. I looked around to see where Rick was as he kept yelling at Chris the whole time the 3 cops struggled to restrain him. I could hear Chris whimpering and apologizing in between. I couldn't see where Rick was, so I decided to just go to my apartment and lock the door. As I turned to go, I froze in horror as Rick's voice boomed. A deep chill went down my spine as my brain struggled as I was recognizing that the voice and these words were coming out of Chris's mouth. I felt a panic grip me as I realized that this whole time Rick and Chris were the same person. All the fighting, laughing, drinking, and carrying on that I couldn't help but overhearing the last couple of months had come from one single person, a lonely guy in his small 1-bedroom apartment. For some reason, this made me feel sick. I did later learn from Anna that this wasn't the first time the police had to come and take Chris away. Anna explained that he spends a couple of months at a time at a local psychiatric hospital. His father owns the apartment, so it's here waiting for him when he gets out. I moved out a few months later, and while I certainly think it's a sad situation for Chris, I really do feel for him. But this whole ordeal was just insane.
That's such a shitty situation, you know. Yeah, that's rough. Wow.
It was the same person the whole time.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's like a movie, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I was actually while I listened to it, I was like, man, this does kind of remind me of like a few different movies where you had like the neighbors fighting next door and stuff like that, and wonder what's going on. And it's just wow, that was intense.
The chat's saying it's a heck of a swerve there at the end.
Yeah, that was that was really the whole time. It was like interesting story listening to this, and I was like, whoa, jeez.
I did see some people commenting on the chat that how could you live there for a couple months and not see both people? Do you play much into that or not? You're a guy that minds your own business. You don't converse with your neighbors too much.
Yeah, so there's been a couple times where I've wondered about. I've had neighbors in the past where it's like you hear 2 different women talking to each other or something like that and getting in arguments, but you never actually see either of them because of the privacy fence.
Yeah.
And I've never seen two women out front. And so, like, I've always wondered, wouldn't it be crazy? And so, like, for this to happen and then, to experience all this would be such a weird moment. It would kind of just, I don't know.
It makes you question your sanity there, right?
Well, that and it would really just frighten the heck out of you because you'd be like, what have I been living next to this whole time?
So the individual is fighting with himself physically and verbally.
Injuring themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, to the point where they had different, like, not just fighting inside their head, he had different voices for each person.
But
He was both people.
yeah, back to what I was saying, it's like a shitty situation because it's like it just the idea that this to be in this like mental break, whatever happened to make you do this.
Yeah.
It's just such a horrible situation to be in, but also a horrible situation to be next to.
Yeah, for sure.
That was such a
Some people in the chat are just registering what happened, I think, as we go along here.
yeah.
It's a lot to take in. You don't expect it to be there, but I was trying, as you're reading this story, especially when you're reading it out loud, you're trying to.
There's no way of knowing where it's going, like listening to it. Like I
Yeah.
was like, it's like I mean, this sounds bad. It's bad domestic violence, but then it goes to some insane level at the end.
Yeah, I tried to emphasize in the beginning parts of the story that he hadn't seen the other one,
Yeah,
just to try, on the build up here. But crazy story. The comments in this story were also pretty crazy.
I bet.
This is like in the last 5 years, so this wasn't like too long ago. But a lot of people very concerned. Some people kind of back and forwards, like I said, about. I guess some people just think they're too smart for that to happen to them not to realize it was one person. But if you're busy working, not really paying attention, I can see how it would happen. Imagine coming home to that scene, though.
I mean, yeah, that would be nuts. That's with the cops there and everything. When you think about it, yeah, if you're wanting to not cause problems with your neighbors, you don't actively talk to them that much.
Yeah.
You just try to avoid them. So yeah, it would make sense not to notice two people, like just to only know about one, or just to not even pay much attention to them.
Yeah.
That's the easiest way not to get in arguments with your neighbors. Is just to never pay attention to them and just like just
Yeah.
not get involved.
Yep.
And
I agree with that.
although I will say that if you hear a lot of screaming and shouting and potential domestic violence, maybe you call the cops.
That's what I was going on the next question. A lot of comments said, "Why didn't you call the police earlier?"
Yeah.
I mean, before they. He didn't even call them in the first place. But why didn't you call the police earlier
Yeah.
when you heard these things?
Yeah, I mean, if it gets out of control, like it must have been somewhat out of control for him to, be concerned about it.
What did you think
yeah.
about the part where he was arguing with himself that the other one liked him?
They found him attractive. Yeah, that's messed up.
What if you heard that through the wall? I mean, gosh.
I mean, when you first hear it, it's like, oh man, that's weird. I'm not engaging with this guy. I don't want to this to happen because of me. But then later on, you find out, and then you think back on it. It's like, holy hell, that was nuts.
Yeah, it's just one guy. I definitely think it would take a little bit of time to process this significant event.
Yeah, I would. Afterwards, I'd probably be like trying to piece together everything that I'd seen up to this point, and like, should I have noticed this? Should this have been a thing that I saw in advance, or yeah, wow, that's crazy. It's one of those stories that it's all about the reveal at the end, towards the end there, that turns it from being like a normal story about domestic violence to being like this insanity. That's crazy.
I think, and lastly, the comments and the thing were, and I'll get your feeling on this. Should the landlord, who is also, I guess, Chris's father, Should you inform new people moving in about things like this?
Yeah, definitely. You definitely let people know when something like that's going on.
Like if you have
I
a
mean,
person
I
that,
mean, you feel for him because, like, the kid is clearly not well, or he's a man, but
yeah,
his kid is not well, and so he wants to put him up someplace. But yeah, you should probably let people know. It's like, hey, he's he's got schizophrenia or something like that, multiple personality disorder, and this is something that might happen, but you need to not worry about it so much or something, and then let me know if things go bad.
yeah, that's what I was thinking. I think I would feel first of all, it's bad for business if you're the
Yeah.
landlord. The whole situation sounds like a bad spot. I get it's your kid though.
Yeah, but at the same time, I also see why he didn't say anything, because he wants to get more rent, because he'd have to charge less if
That'd
he
be a
was.
weird thing to sell, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah, hey, like my psychopath, my psychotic possibly son lives next door. Psychotic's not a nice word, but you know what I mean.
yeah,
Definitely has. I just hope he got the help he needed. You know.
yeah. Hopefully, wow. That at first it just seemed like he was an asshole or something. Getting into arguments and stuff with his significant other and or husband. And I'm not sure if he mentioned if they were married, supposedly married or whatever.
That's why he
But
kind of thought, yeah, there were a couple. I mean, I guess he didn't really say if they're married or not, but he thought there were
yeah,
a couple. Yeah,
wasn't sure if they were. Yeah, but anyway, just for that too. Wow.
this was not the most. This is not my favorite story I've ever read or shared, but I do think it was one that I felt was cool just because of the swerve at the end. Cool might
It's
not be a great way to phrase it.
it's interesting.
Interesting, crazy because of the swerve at the end.
Yeah, it's really damned interesting. And I would like to know, what happened after, to this person. Did they get put in some sort of hospital? Did they ever get any
Right.
treatment? Uh
He moved
very
out though. The
Yeah,
person this happened to.
he moved out, but like, yeah, that's something else.
Tough break. Are you
It
ready for
was,
your second story, dude?
yeah.
Start cueing the music. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yes, I'm going to mute up. You are good to
All
go
right.
with your second story of the evening.
All righty. This is Chupacabra sighting. This is going to sound silly. I know it would sound silly to me, should I be the one listening to this story, but I saw something I can't explain years ago, and this is the first time I'm now talking about it. I go camping in a widely known provincial park that I will leave nameless at the moment. I'm a big camping enthusiast, and I've been going twice a year since 2006. Once in the summer, and then again in the fall before it snows. But in the summer of 2013, I had an encounter that leaves me unnerved and unsettled to this day. I drove my van and trailer up to the campsite deep into the woods. Everything is as ordinary as the woods can be. Wind rustling the trees, the faint sound of running water of the river just down the hill. I would often hear rustling of animals in the woods around my campsite, so I no longer notice when this happens. It becomes white noise to me. So the thing I encountered ever came around my campsite, I probably would have never known. It was my 6th day there, and I decided to take a hike down the hill into one of the trails in the woods. I began to develop cabin fever. I wanted to see if I could get some good photos for the gram. I've now been on this trail at least 3 hours at this point, and was getting good photos of the landscape I traversed. But at some point, while I stopped to take a photo of a beautiful view of the trees aligned together in the forest, I heard some minor ruffling in the distance. I had run across the path of a pack of deer earlier, so I didn't think anything of it. After a good 10 minutes, I put my camera away, ready to continue on. When I was startled by the loud snap of a stick nearby. I turned quickly, assuming it's the deer again, and I didn't get a good photo of them before. I decided to try it once more. To my horror, instead, what I saw appeared to be a relatively large coyote, but it had small horns and walked on hooves instead of paws. It had a rather long, almost cat-like tail, and it was malnourished. I could see its ribs pop into focus whenever it exhaled, and a crooked mouth. One of the top incisors stuck out from its mouth. This thing hadn't noticed me, as it was a good distance away. I began to shake with nerves as I tried to quietly sneak back. I must have attracted its attention because it quickly snapped its gaze to me, opened its mouth to reveal a mouth of 4 oversized teeth overshadowing smaller rows of teeth. It hissed at me. It turned and ran into the bushes away from me. When I returned to my campsite, I spent my time trying to figure out what I had just seen and came to the conclusion, no matter how silly it sounds, I'm 100% certain I discovered a chupacabra. However, I can assure you that since that event, I have never come across anything like that since.
You know, when you said hissed, I thought of
Yeah.
that story, the guy on the train that hissed at that girl. Remember that?
Yeah, that was creepy as hell.
Yeah, it was a creepy story. Chupacabra, that's our first Chupacabra story on the show.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, oh, we haven't done that, and I'll look for a good one. And this one's different than a few of the other chupacabra sightings. In fact, someone even mentions it in one of the comments. They said it doesn't sound like any chupacabra sighting we've ever heard before. This sounds like something else and slightly more terrifying. Because normally a chupacabra is just more like a dog with like incisors, but he mentioned this thing had horns, hooves, and a cat-like tail. And the fact that it hissed at him too sounds horrifying.
Yeah, the horns seem to be a frightening thing in the chat here. People
Yeah,
commenting on the horns.
but it also kind of reminds me of a knot deer, right? Because of the ribs being like sort of exposed when it breathes.
Couldn't anything remind you of a not deer because it's not a deer, I guess.
Yeah,
But I
like,
know what you're saying. I thought of
yeah.
the same. I thought of the same thing when you're telling the story. I thought I'm not going to say anything about the not deer.
You can't
You
not
did it.
bring it up.
Yeah, I was trying not to bring it up, but you did. So you're thinking of it too. This is like not something that's like a rare thing either. This happens. These chupacabra sightings are very common. I don't know the back. I mean, I've read about it a lot and seen, but I can't recall what the backstory of these things are.
So the first time I heard of a chupacabra was back on an old episode of Unsolved Mysteries, way back in the day.
Yeah.
And when we were hearing about it back then, it was something that was feeding on livestock, drinking their blood, and stuff like that.
Oh my gosh.
And the one guy who said they saw one off the side of the road said it was like sitting crouched on the side of the road and then had a long, almost needle-like tongue that stuck out and like was like looking at the air and then ran off into the brush.
That's messed up.
Yeah. That was the first time I ever heard of a chupacabra, and I was like, I don't know, 10. So like this was a long time ago, and so I thought, well, man, that sounds terrifying.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of when I watched a really good special on it. Man, what is that guy's name? Josh. He had a show.
Josh Gates.
Josh Gates had a show. It was like the first show he really did that I watched. This is probably it was over 10 years ago now.
Was it Destination Truth?
Yes. Yeah, one of the first episodes he went and looked for and went to a small community and looked for one of those.
Yeah. Yeah, I do remember. I think I've seen that one as well. And
that was a good show.
Yeah, it was. That was actually it's one of those shows that like I try to almost try to get that energy for this.
Yeah.
The way he, I don't know, just the way he presents things. It's like no matter what I'm talking about it as fact, right?
Yeah, as fact. Yet he is
I'm asking
entertaining,
questions. Yeah,
funny, but yet it comes across extremely factual, I guess you could say. Yeah.
yeah. You gotta even the craziest, most ridiculous stories. You gotta give it some amount of hint of maybe it's true, and make to sell it. And that's what I always feel about like all these stories, especially some of the ones that I'm like, I'm not so sure about. But afterwards, I'm just like, you know what? I'm going to read this story and I'm going to sell it as it's true.
Th- this is like I said, this was a short story. This is a
Hmm.
very common thing,
Hmm.
but this is like more realistic, right? You just see something it just happened. It wasn't like
Yeah,
this long drawn out. We tell a lot of stories where they're long drawn out. This happens, that happens, like a bunch of things happen, but this was like quick.
yeah.
Like it would be probably if you come across or you at least you'd hope it would be quick if
Yeah.
you come across one.
He's just out there enjoying his camping trip, and he's just taking pictures, and he turns around and he sees this thing that honestly, if you were to see, would be pretty terrifying.
Oh yeah,
And you would pretty much imprint most of the visuals in your head as soon as you saw something
because
like
they're
that.
not huge.
Right. Because he
It
said
has
it looks like a large coyote.
it has horns.
Yeah.
So you'd instantly be like, "What? Something furry with horns would be odd."
Yeah. And then the long cat like tail. So it's not like a goat, not a billy goat or something out there. Uh and then the fact that it hissed at him. All these things don't work together, but once they're together, this makes a really terrifying creature. And then it runs off. It's not like he like fights it off or something like that.
Yeah.
So the fact that it just kind of like runs off and he's like, I've never seen it before. I've never seen it since. This is what I saw. Kind of makes it feel true.
Apparently, my grandma was watching, so hello, I love you. Let me start by saying that. It's kind of up late. She's a late night woman. Uh, how cool is that? Anyway, is this another one that you would confront with a stick, Luke?
Oh yeah.
Would you
I've
chase it down? Like it ran off. It's kind of scurried off. Would you go chasing it?
ever since that Unsolved Mysteries episode that talked about it, I've wanted to fight a chupacabra.
Fight. Yeah.
Yeah.
This fight. You've been inspired the last couple of months by that.
Yeah.
Uh, you, you always want to fight these things. I'll give you credit on that. I'd just be
I
terrified.
I I feel like that if monsters are real, that I can't imagine a funner life than fighting monsters.
As I was editing that clip of that ghost hanging down from the door thing,
Yeah.
you went off on like a 2-minute rant about, you know, how you would go after these things after a while. You would not be
Hmm.
afraid because you look at it, if they can harm you, you can harm them. This was a 2-minute long rant that you went off on during that clip that I edited. I was like, man, you've thought about this though a lot.
A lot. Yeah.
Eye of the Tiger playing in the background.
Yeah. Why wouldn't you think about that?
Yeah. I don't know if I'd react fast enough to chase it down if it ran off. I'd probably be stunned though. I'd be like, what the heck was that? You know?
Yeah, but like if it was like aggressive and like kind of,
Yeah.
I would definitely be fighting it. Go
I mean,
Team Bo on that thing.
what the one punch.
Yeah.
I do think you're quite a bit bigger than Chupacabra, so I could see where it would like be hesitant to try to
Yeah.
take you on.
Yeah. Yeah. This would be like something like a medium sized dog, if that big, from what he described.
Yeah.
And so like, yeah, it wouldn't be like super aggressive.
I have a feeling this isn't going to be the only Chupacabra story that gets shared on this show.
Surely not.
Being in over 9 months and that being the first time though, that's pretty impressive.
It really is actually. That
Because
was
it's
one.
up there. It's up there with these legends of Skinwalker,
Yeah.
Wendigo. These things we talked about. This thing is like I've heard more about the Chupacabra than all these things.
Yeah. There was a couple other stories that got the cut from tonight that I'm going to probably do later.
Yeah.
But I did see another Chupacabra story that looked kind of interesting that I was like tossing them between. I was like, so I'm sure at some point I'll be reading another one.
Camping with a weapon might not be a bad idea.
I mean, you should at least have a knife.
You should at least have a stick. That's what they're going to say.
Yeah, definitely stick.
I don't know if you'd be
But-
able to react fast enough for one way or another though if that happened. It sounds like
Yeah.
this is a pretty quick thing, you know?
Yeah, that's what actually makes it kind of interesting is that it just left. It ran off.
The question is, if it wasn't that, what could it have been? What do you think?
Um, a very deformed deer, like one that had mange or something like that. But not the tail is the only thing that's like the sticking point, describing it as having a long cat-like tail.
The horns, it's got to have something. I don't know. I didn't talk about how. I don't know how big the horns are on one, but they got to be smaller than a deer, right? They're like they're horns. They're
Yeah,
not antlers, right?
that's why I'm thinking that it might, a malnourished, kind of mangy
Maybe some
deer.
crazy goat. What do you think?
The goat is possible.
Can a goat hiss? I'd like to hear that.
I mean, they make weird noises. Goats and sheep make some weird ass noises.
Yeah.
Both of them do. So, and so like it could have been a ram of some sort. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Is it the second time you brought up a ram tonight? You bring up a ram truck earlier
No, I
in
don't
the
think I
driveway.
did.
Oh, I thought you said a ram in the driveway or something. Awesome story. That just kind of gets me wanting to research these chupacabras again more because it's been a long time since I've looked into this. So this
Yeah.
kind of like what gets my appetite for that going.
Yeah, it's fun.
Move on to my next story.
Oh yeah, the video, isn't it?
It's a video. It's a video. This is a video, and I really tried to edit this well and get it slow motion and different things. This is a video that surfaced on the web over 10 years ago. It is of two sisters recording a video singing like sisters would do in a bedroom when something paranormal happens. I
Oh.
found this video to be fascinating. It was on one of their kid cameras, so the quality is not great. I've gone through measures to try to enhance it. Didn't do that great at it, but I'm excited to share it nevertheless. This is two young sisters singing a song and recording it like you would do with your siblings, like we've all done with a camera, being silly with our siblings.
Yeah.
Let me find it here.
Guys, it's Bella here, and this is my baby sister Gabby. I'm gonna be singing Defying Gravity. Alright, here we go. Something has changed within me. Something is not the same. I'm through with playing by the rules of someone else's games. Too late for second guessings. Too late to go back to sleep. It's time to trust my instincts. Close my eyes and leap. It's time to try defying gravity. I think I'll... Dad! Dad! Dad!
Play it again here, the ending sequence here again.
Second guessings. Too late to go back to sleep. It's time to trust my instincts. Close my eyes and leap. It's time to try defying gravity. I think I'll...
Okay, so initial thoughts.
That's a ghost. Yeah, I can't figure out any other way for that to work.
I do try to slow it down here. And the first thing I do here is I try to slow this down. And what I'm focusing on, and I think I did this twice. The second time, actually, I enhanced the video quality as much as I could. I'm trying to see if I can see anything at the door, was my first focus of this. So let's go ahead and watch this in slow motion. See, this is as the door is open in slow motion. See if we're seeing anything here. So the door is in a pretty good spot right here. So this is the first thing that caught my thing right here. I see something, but I think it's her hair
Yeah.
by the door there. But it did almost look like it was thicker a second ago. Hold on, let me try to go back just a tiny bit. Let's play it again. See, it almost looked like it moved.
Yeah.
But again, this is a very low quality camera. And this is where it gets real crazy, right? The
Water bottle.
yeah. See if I got this the second time or not. This is the whole thing in slow motion. See, look at the shadow there. So this
Yeah.
is an interesting thing. There's obviously a light above that door, yet above that dresser that's to their left.
Yeah.
So there's obviously a light in the door. You can see the light on top of the door, then how the shadow effect there at the door.
Yeah.
The shadow comes in thicker there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll go into this more in a second. Let's go back to the beginning here and something that really caught my attention here. So as this is happening, the sister is very engaged with what her sister's singing, right? Very into it. Then
Yeah.
she hears the door open. The sister doesn't break the singing when this happens. The younger sister glances over her shoulder and watches this happen. Doesn't say anything. I guess you wouldn't. You'd be confused. Like, why is the door opening? Then let's just play it again. We'll just play this part again. It's not gonna hurt anything.
Yeah.
To go back to sleep. It's time to trust my instincts. Close my eyes and leap. It's time to try defying gravity. I think I'll...
I have young daughters, so when I hear that, Dad, I just get terrified.
Yeah.
She's already very close to her sister. She
Too late to
makes sure to
go
get
back
even
to
closer though as this
sleep.
door's opening.
It's time to trust my
Yeah.
instincts. Close my
See?
eyes and
Yeah.
leap. It's time.
She's scared, obviously. She's getting closer to her sister.
Yeah. That is really crazy. Like, it's really hard. There doesn't seem to be anything there.
We got a lot of people talking about the water bottle, so good for you guys. I have that broke down, zoomed in, I think. Let's try to get to that point here. Let's see here. Okay, now let's do this first. This is a zoomed in. I really tried to enhance all the features to
Right.
a really high extent to see if I was able to pick up anything on that door. The hair, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Again, this is very tightened up here. It's enhancing everything. But see, here's the thing. Let me stop that. I see like a secondary ring there above the head that doesn't look like the hair to me.
Yeah. Kind of there. Yeah. It looks like something there.
But it could just again be see right there.
Yeah. Something coming away from her head there.
But it could be the hair though being,
caught on
really-
the camera.
yeah.
It just doesn't, I don't know. It just doesn't look right.
Again, I've sharpened this up to the point where it's extreme.
Yeah.
Just trying to highlight any other features.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy looking.
So there's this happened here a second ago. There's like a gap between the door here.
Yeah.
See? It's
Yeah.
real stretched out. Real stretched out right there.
Yeah. That's really weird.
I know it's creepy because I know it looks really creepy.
That's
It's definitely a low quality camera. All right.
All right.
Here's the water bottle moment everybody's talking about in the chat.
so okay. I was wondering, it looks like it's sliding straight and then off. So it's sliding straight across. And like at first I was wondering, is it being yanked down from the bottom? Like if it was like a fishing line down there or something, but it slides straight across first.
Because
Which
if it was yanked, the bottom would go out first.
yeah, like
and it would
falls
happen
off-
right then. It wouldn't slide.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering because like it was hard to tell at first, but this is you can definitely see it slide a couple inches and then it falls off and then it kind of goes at an angle. But
Go back to the
Yeah.
water bottle again here. Okay, so I'm seeing some things behind the bottle. Again, this is really sharpened up,
yeah,
and there is a very low quality camera, like has been stated. There is something looks like behind the bottle there.
that's like on the one edge there, like
Mhm.
jagged
Yep.
bits there. I don't know why I was pointing at the screen like that, like you could tell. when
I
was
did the same
pointing.
thing with the mouse. You can't see my mouse, right? So
Yeah,
that would be a good idea though if you could.
yeah,
So I'm just trying to picture. So there's a second piece of paper under there, I assume is what that is.
Yeah.
But it almost looks like it comes out here. Oh, okay. You just couldn't see it because the water bottle was there.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's something.
What is that other thing there? That black thing there.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what that is. It's like a marker. Okay, it's like a big
yep.
highlighter marker.
Again,
Gotcha.
this thing is so concentrated.
Yeah.
Try to look as the bottle sits here if I could see anything.
Mm-hmm.
What's your thoughts in the chat? You seen anything that I'm not seeing?
That is really crazy.
One thing I will say about this video, the reaction is genuine.
Right.
Whether they're being pranked or not, I don't know. But that reaction seems very legitimate to me.
Yeah.
And this water bottle just moving.
The one girl watching the door as soon as it starts to open probably at first expected someone to come in.
Let me say something else about that. Sorry to cut you off. She does not. So if somebody was tinkering around with a string to this water bottle, she's not looking at a string going across because the string would have to be across from her, right? In her vision.
Yeah.
She at no point looks at this water bottle if you watch this again.
My instincts, close my eyes and leap. It's time to try defying gravity. I think I'll...
I don't see her eyes following what would be messing with over there at the water bottle.
Yeah. And, these kids, they just look like normal kids. They don't look like they're studied any acting to avoid that,
Yeah, they're not smiling, acting like they're in on something. There's a lot of fear here again.
Yeah.
Dad! 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 Second.
Imagine having to go out that door after that happened.
No kidding. It's like literally just saw that happen and you don't know what to do except
this
for
video is so simple, but it's awesome. This video is awesome.
This is a really good one. I can't see anything. Like there's no one in the hallway. You can definitely tell there's no one there that you can see.
It just seems like when that door opens up, you really.
Yeah, her hair kind of like, or if possibly
it's behind it almost.
Yeah, it does. It doesn't look like it's part of her head. Her hair actually looks like it's really tight. Like she's got a lot of barrettes. You can see some right there on her head.
So there is one hanging up there. I wonder if that's what that's picking up on.
Maybe that's possible.
Yeah, that's the part up there. You see it.
Yeah.
Just all that other stuff going on back there.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, this one's crazy. Then again, I think look at the water bottle one more time. I also get a slow motion of that door closing. That's this water bottle, dude. I'm just not seeing anything. It doesn't look like it's suddenly yanked. It slides right there. You said.
Yeah.
It slides. Let's look at how much. I can't really tell how much water's in this thing.
It looks like it's about halfway, maybe. The top part's definitely empty. The bottom part's not.
It slides, so there has to have some weight to it.
Yeah.
There's a slide. See, it's not a clean. If I am yanking something, it's going to come down a certain way, right?
Yeah.
This thing slides to the edge of the table.
Yeah. And then it falls down.
Somebody reading the chat here. Somebody says, when I see a girl ghost video, I think of the ones where you don't see any sign of an actual ghost, like this video and the cat video. You never see the ghost. Yeah, you can't really see anything. And I really tried here to see something. Not able to. But the way the bottle slides off, to your point, it's very telling. It didn't tip because it should have tipped, right?
Right.
It should have went like, I'm trying to think of how to show you with this view, like this, I think. Or like that. It would be a better way to describe it, like that. But it doesn't. So I don't know. It does there when it's airborne already.
Yeah.
It's already airborne. It doesn't do it in the initial slide.
Yeah, it almost feels like someone's just got their hand on it and they're just pushing it, and it goes off.
There almost does seem like something pops up behind it.
Yeah,
Like if you
Like-
watch right before it moves. See if I can catch it here. There, you see something behind it?
yeah, definitely seems like
Then it's gone then it's gone out of the frame later.
yeah,
It's definitely blurry behind it. Like there's movement.
yeah,
Then it goes. Now we'll watch this ending part here. So this is how I think this was the best part of how it sharpens up here. You can see the light from the room going out into the hallway. This is
Yeah.
a really damn good visual of the hallway.
yeah.
Let's try to get to the beginning of it here. A really good visual of the hallway here. Let's see if we can see anything. Again, I'm seeing some stuff happen at the top of the door, but it could just be the quality of the camera.
Right. It's hard to say, but it does almost look like a misting.
Yeah. Let's go back to the regular view here and- as it's shutting. Don't really see anything.
Yeah. It's really weird how it just like, closes like that. Everything about it seems strange. Like if someone was to open the door and like kind of push it open, right? That's one thing. But the fact that they're able to close it too without being anywhere near the door handles to grab it or anything.
Yeah, great point, Luke. Absolutely great point. Now the door, you can see the door handle there.
Yeah.
Now as this goes down, her head's obviously in the way.
Yeah.
But I'm even trying to look down there under her chin.
You don't really see a person or anything.
No.
Yeah, it's also there's like no cuts in this video, and like in the original video, there's like it doesn't look like there's cuts in it.
There's no cuts in the original video, I would say. I wonder what is sticking out behind the door there. Some
Sure there's another stray hair or something like that.
No, I meant like these spots on the door frame back there.
Oh,
The
I
door
see.
hinges, I guess this are, I don't know.
Yeah, those were the door hinges. Yeah.
Yep. They're the door hinges. This really sharpens things up when you look at it.
Yeah,
Just
definitely.
I don't see anything there. This is a big spot where I'm like, I thought I was gonna see something with a water bottle. I couldn't.
Yeah.
The light in the room is very weird. Somebody's saying in the chat. It is really weird. You can see how it's shining out of there.
It's almost like it's in the corner. I don't know. Maybe it's like a lamp. I don't know.
Yeah, fair point.
It's you never know what they have there, but
Still seeing some weird stuff happen as it's shutting, but that's light reflecting on the wall back there, I guess.
yeah.
Nothing definitive that you can see that's making it shut, though. Shadows are consistent with the door shutting. I did realize that.
Yeah.
What a cool video. Let's just watch it one time. And let's watch the whole video again.
Guys,
Good.
it's Bella here, and this is my baby sister Gabby. I'm going to be singing Defying Gravity. Alright, here we go. Something has changed within me. Something is not the same. I'm through with playing by the rules of someone else's games. Too late for second guessings. Too late to go back to sleep. It's time to trust my instincts. Close my eyes and leap. It's time to try defying gravity. I think I'll... Dad! Dad!
I can't get over how cuddled up to her sister she is here.
Yeah.
Obviously, a lot of fear there. See?
Yeah. I mean, she doesn't know what happened, and it seems pretty obvious to her that this is not faked reactions.
No. If this is fake, they're being pranked.
Yeah.
But they run out of the room and they don't see anybody.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how far you could go away with the string and not be. They got out of the damn room still.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'd be jumping out the window, not going towards the ghost. Yeah. One way out of the room, though. What would you do?
Get a stick.
Oh, yeah. You got to just carry a stick everywhere in your house, at the bathroom, everywhere. You always need a stick.
Yeah.
Your thoughts overall on the video? I really liked it. It's so old and the video quality is terrible, but this is like a classic. Like this seems so real to me.
Yeah, it seems very real. It seems, and it's very, you can feel their fear in this because it's like you gotta feel afraid for these kids. It's like, what if this is a ghost? What the hell is it doing? Why is it doing this to them?
Yeah,
And if it's a person, what an ass.
I was about to say, yeah.
But so like either way, terrifying for them, and you feel scared for them, and yeah, that was a great video. Because you always see kids doing that, singing a song together, and you never know, you never expect there to be something like that behind them happening. Yeah, very spooky.
I was so excited to share that, dude. I
Yeah,
thought
that
this
was
is incredible.
that was great. That was really good.
Well, that's a good video for the night, I think. You have one more story. Start queuing it up here. You hear me?
No, I think so.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this is a story that you reached out to me earlier, and you said you were excited about. You didn't tell me anything about it, but this is the last story you're sharing tonight. You are excited about.
Yes. I want to give a little bit of backstory on it a little bit before I start reading the story of what happened. And so like it'll be a good one. It'll be a wild ride for everyone, I think. Alrighty. So this goes back to 1984 in Los Angeles. This was a couple months or a month before what would be known as like the Summer of Fear, in which Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker, started killing people. This happened to us back in 1984, just before the whole world knew who the Night Stalker was. I was in elementary school at the time and lived at home with my parents and siblings in an area in Los Angeles where the Night Stalker would end up being most active. At the time, we didn't know it and no one knew about it until later. Back in those days, my parents and aunts and uncles would all meet at my parents' house for either a Friday night or a Saturday night get-together. Most of the time, the parents would all go out and leave us kids at home. They would order pizza, let us make popcorn, and drink sodas. A pretty big deal for us kids. The oldest one among us at the time was probably my cousins, who were about 14 and 15. The rest were 13, and I was the youngest. One evening, all our parents, aunts, and uncles came over. They did their usual, ordered us some pizzas, and I remember this as being the first time we had a VCR. We were the first family in our block to get a VCR. So us kids were to stay at home alone, and my cousin rented 2 movies. It was Halloween and Evil Dead. But that was the thing to do back then. You rented scary movies and turned off all the lights in the house and watched it in the dark. That night, our parents left all us kids at the house, and our old house was built with an extra room, like a den family room. We had popcorn machines that we used to make our popcorn, and we had all of our pizza. Since there were so many of us, a lot of us younger kids got kicked off the sofa, love seat, and recliner chairs. We left to sit on the floor. That room had a long sliding glass door that led to the patio outside. As the night went on, our older cousins played tricks on us, typical things to scare us younger kids when we were sitting in the dark watching a scary movie. It was getting late, and it wasn't unusual for our parents to return home way past midnight to 1 or 2 in the morning. As sometimes they would go out to eat to a place and see some live music at a cantina. As I mentioned, a lot of us were sitting on the floor. We had pillows and we were all sprawled out over the den floor. My sister was sitting up against the sliding glass door. That glass door had the typical floor-to-ceiling 80s style curtains. My sister was just behind me, and I don't remember exactly the details that led up to this, but all of a sudden, she let out the loudest scream. We all jumped up, and of course, we thought she did that to scare us, but she was shaking and in tears. My female cousin jumped up and went over to her and got her out of the way. Got to her, and they saw a man outside the sliding glass door trying to get in. He must have thought no one was in the house because it was all dark and all the cars were gone. Everyone immediately jumped up, and we turned on all the lights in the house as we ran through it. My older brother said, "Let's run across the street." Our neighbor was a sheriff deputy. We all ran from our house to his house. I remember crossing our neighborhood street like if someone was after us. We banged on the door, saying we need help. His wife answered the door and let us in. Then he came out from his bedroom. He grabbed his revolver. It was like the big, dirty Harry style revolver. He also grabbed his flashlight and told his wife to call the station. We stayed with her while he went to the house, and by that time, a couple of cops pulled up. Sure enough, there was evidence that someone had jumped our brick wall fence and was there. There were tool marks on the sliding glass door. They asked my sister to describe the man. She said, dark complexion, tall, curly hair, skinny, and dressed all in black. The same description that would be later given of the Night Stalker. By this time, our parents started to arrive home to all the commotion. The police played it off as an attempted break-in, reckoning keeping the lights on the front porch and a few lights on inside. They said it's probably some random bum looking for quick cash for drugs. Fast forward to that summer, the summer from hell, when Los Angeles was in a heat wave, the summer of the Night Stalker. He ended up killing a neighbor of my mom's friend from church. To this day, I wonder if it was the Night Stalker who tried to break into our house.
Incredible story. This was a very crazy time in Los Angeles. Coming off of the events of the serial killer, I find the most interesting was the original Night Stalker, also deemed the Golden State Killer later
Oh, yeah.
in the East area. Yeah, he's called the original. You got to think that was before this, but crazy time in this area. You have years before it's happened with the original Night Stalker.
Mhm.
Then you have this new Night Stalker. LA was a crazy time with the riots and everything around then. And this summer was absolutely crazy what he did that whole entire summer.
Yeah.
I can't imagine how frightening it would be living in these neighborhoods when these things happen there.
Yeah. And
Like I said, you come off of the first one, and it's crazy that you did that because I actually had a story from somebody who survived the original Night Stalker that I was going to share tonight, but I couldn't get it put together in time.
oh,
Well,
man.
I'll work on that for next week. But this is terrifying, and there's a really good chance that it was that person.
Yeah. The description is bang on the same as Richard Ramirez. You know, he was thin, curly hair,
Yep.
and he always was dressed in jet black to hide. And some of the worst crimes imaginable, he committed them all. Yeah, and it's a good chance that this was probably like him starting out. You know, they might, because they don't know for sure if they got all of the crimes charged to him. They only got him for 14 murders, but there's
Right.
probably more, and more break-ins and stuff like that before he started killing. So This guy was active in the area that they lived in. A person that they knew was killed later on. So yeah, very good chance this was him. And terrifying. Yeah, we did all these stories of monsters, like I did an alien, I did a chupacabra, but Richard Ramirez was no doubt a real monster, and these kids were within spitting distance of him.
Yeah. Definitely probably didn't know there's a bunch of people in there. MO's kind of
Yeah, usually he would get there when people were asleep, and one or two people in the house.
Yeah. Definitely got to bring out the story next week about what I had, but this is like the man. You're right, Man of Yellow Raincoat. It reminds me a lot like that. It's just terrifying because you probably did come really close to having a interaction. Man of the Raincoat, they did, Yellow they did. But you came close to having a face-on interaction with this serial killer.
Yeah. And, you know,
The fact that she's sitting against that glass window sliding glass door had to be
Yeah.
terrifying.
I bet she never did that again.
Yeah. No, there's
Uh,
not an episode next week. 2 weeks. My bad.
Yeah, 2
We
weeks.
got a fact checker. CX Clips is our fact checker. We have a producer and a fact checker live in every episode. He's not there though during the presidential debates, but he
Nah,
makes it to your scary stories.
Yeah, that's what matters.
But it's creepy and it's terrifying, and that had to be such a terrifying summer. I can't even imagine being in those neighborhoods and
Yeah.
just the thought of what could happen to you, going to bed every night and thinking about it, but then actually having this happen to you. Can you imagine trying to sleep after that?
Yeah, it's especially once the killing started and they knew that there was a serial killer on the loose. That family, thinking back to that night, they were probably like, "Was that him?" I imagine that they probably took security a little bit more serious.
Yeah, this is a pretty the home alarm stuff like that. All these concepts were pretty new in that decade.
Yeah,
Reaching up to that. The going back before that, even when you talk about the original Night Stalker, and we'll get into that one day, the process of calling 911, you had to get a hold of an operator. So
Yeah.
it's not like this was it's not like today. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
it was
Also-
really a favorable environment to be able to do these things these guys operated in.
Yeah, they were lucky to have a neighbor being a sheriff's deputy, and that he was, quick to action, and got his wife to call in while he went over there. You can imagine, him thinking back later, he probably wished that he had caught this guy that night, just because
Of course.
the monster he would have put away before anything happened.
You come in a cup that, and that's the crazy part, right? That there's a lot of things where they thought they were close to catching this person or had an interaction with this person.
Yeah,
Again, just like the original Night Stalker, you had these face-to-face interactions they have with the person. Don't know who it is, they can't see, but yeah, I imagine that probably lays pretty heavy on that person. What if that night, you could have caught him and then stopped the additional crimes that happen
Yeah.
afterwards?
my favorite, well, it's hard to say it's a favorite story about what
Yeah.
happened with him, but my favorite thing that I heard about how he got caught was, they had a picture of him, they put it out so everyone knew who he looked like. He was out of town. He comes back home, doesn't realize that everyone knows what he looks like. He gets jumped by 10 civilians who just beat the crap out of him. And the cops get called because they think there's just a regular fight going on. They show up, they realize it's Richard Ramirez that they're beating the crap out of. And so they just haul him off and then let everyone else go off because, and just like, I'm glad that he got his comeuppance,
Yeah.
at the hands of people the people in this neighborhood that he has been wronging this whole time.
You got to be a very evil person to do the things that some of these people do.
Yeah,
And these people are very lucky. Very lucky. Again, people are the scariest thing. We just showed a video about some kids and maybe a ghost.
yeah,
It just doesn't compare to these real life monsters that are out there. Still
Yes.
out there today. Is it a little bit harder to operate these long sprees that they do? Yeah, just because of technology and stuff like that. But I can't imagine being in that area back then.
yeah. It would be a nightmare. Every night would be a nightmare.
That's a good story to share.
Mm-hmm.
You did a good job with that one. Terrifying. Yeah, well, that'll have to inspire some other stories to come, but well done. Coming off of that though, are you good? You have any more comments on that one?
Oh no, I'm good. Yeah,
Coming off of that one though, let's do what we do. Let's get a clip. A much needed relief of a clip after
Yeah.
that discussion. And we'll come back and we'll talk about our favorite stories of the night. Let me find it.
Gentlemen, this is the final act.
By the way, Ricky, I watched the Highlander movie.
into a sheep? Hang on, baby Jesus. This is going to get bumpy.
Well, I've seen a lot of big crashes at Talladega, but this is the longest one I've ever seen. Let's take a quick commercial break and we'll be right back. Welcome back to Talladega, where the long one continues.
Oh, no, John Gerard and Ricky Bobby have wrecked in the last lap on the straightaway.
Hey, wait a minute. There's something going on the track down there.
Oh, my God, they're racing each other on foot.
These men will not quit.
Go! Go!
Ricky Bobby wins. You'll never see anything like that in 100 lifetimes. It was completely illegal and in no way will count, but man, that was something.
You have set me free. I will never shake your hand, but I will give you this. No, once was good.
I love that movie.
Do you really watch that in theaters?
Yes. Oh my goodness.
I remember going to the theater for that, and the three of us thought, like, this is the greatest thing ever.
Yeah.
Then it set off this series of great movies, right? Like Step Brothers, Blades of Glory,
Yeah.
There's just a lot of good movies came out of this after this one.
Yeah.
This is still to this day, some people hate this movie too. It has like a cult-like following, but man, dude, some people are obsessed with Step Brothers, and I love Step Brothers, but dude, this movie was amazing.
Yeah. And also the whole soundtrack is amazing to that movie.
And the guy what's his name that plays Borat in that movie? He was what helped make this movie. Him and obviously what's his name, John C. Reilly.
John C. Reilly.
But
So good.
his appearance, his role in that movie was amazing.
Do you ever see their Sherlock Holmes movie they did together?
Yeah,
I liked it. It was, you
Yeah.
know, not a lot of people did, but I thought it was funny.
but this one's a whole other level, though. I think we can both agree
dude.
with that.
That was one of the best comedies ever made.
And that final scene,
It was great. It was so hilarious the entire time that they're doing that running and there's like commenting. on
obviously,
it.
I clipped it out, right? Because it was a very long, drawn out run.
Yeah, and I just love like at the end, it's like obviously it's illegal and no way will count.
Yeah,
But oh,
yeah, you can't get out of your car and do that. Turns out. But
Yeah.
do you like the final dive?
Yes. No man.
Do you remember watching it for the first time and seeing that camera pan over to his hand being on the line?
Yeah.
And he
I
set him
will.
free. He set him free. That's all he wanted all along, to be able
Yeah.
to go.
To be
He
beat.
wanted to breed dogs with his husband or something.
Yeah.
German
it was-
Shepherds, yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, I want to watch that movie again.
What a classic. Anyways, let's go to the chat real quick. Favorite story of the night were the story about the neighbor with the split personality and the Night Stalker story.
I mean, yeah, those were honestly my two favorite ones. Also, I mean, the video was good.
Yeah.
The video was good.
Videos
Right.
a perfectly placed timing there before we got into that terrible story to end the night.
Yeah. So but to me, it's the neighbor and the Night Stalker story. They're so good, and I can't really tell which one I like more. It's a little bit hard for me to pick one that I read. It's just like so I was like,
Well,
yeah,
it's not hard for me to do it, but
Yeah.
tonight I can't do it because the Night Stalker one is my favorite tonight.
Yeah. And for me, it's like I read this story like 5 or 6 times before I start reading it. So it's like,
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, I've heard this story. It's no longer my favorite. So
See, not that I didn't like the split personality one, but coming off of the last several that I had, the raincoat, what was it? The last recording, was there something else?
I'm having a hard time remembering because
The Black Dog,
the black dog,
the
yeah,
Black Dog, the raincoat, and the Cloaked Man at the Cemetery. Those were like
those were all
grade
really
A to
good.
me, like
Those are all
top notch
really good.
stories.
Yeah, those are all really good. I really like that Cloaked Man in the Cemetery one. Of course, Yellow Raincoat one, that was another real life monster that we, know existed and definitely did all these horrible things. So like that one's really good. Yeah,
Black Dog was probably my favorite one I've read on the whole show.
it was so fun to hear that one. But yeah, you know what? Yeah, the Night Stalker one is just Night Stalker's terrifying.
Yep.
He was a horrifying person, and yeah, so to have these kids, all in middle school or elementary school encounter him potentially just before the killing spree started, terrifying.
Yeah, I can't imagine just trying to go about your normal day every day. Knowing
Especially
that,
after,
yeah.
yeah.
Before it happened and after it happened. But can you imagine before it happened, knowing what was going on in the neighborhood?
Yeah.
I mean, that I don't know how you would go about it. I mean, the part about the original Night Stalker that's creepier, and I don't want to hold it up, it was years and years, right? Years and years that he did this. So that would be terrifying to live like that for years. But this particular was a very crazy string of crimes that this guy committed. So yeah, that's definitely the story. I think all the stories tonight were good. Chupacabra, I'm glad it made
Made its appearance.
It's made its debut in the show.
Yeah.
I think that'll have a lot to come. Of course, aliens, there's always going to be that. But in the personal stories, like the split personality, those are always fun. But it was a really good flow of stories tonight, and they're all a little bit different. So
Yeah.
I actually enjoyed that because a lot of times you have three of the same.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with it, but tonight it was like we got a little bit of everything. We got that ghost, we got the alien, we got the personal crazy story with the split personality neighbor, we got the
Yeah.
serial killer story. I mean, we got it all tonight, and we got
Yeah.
Talladega Nights video.
Yeah. I don't know what else they would want.
Yeah, someone in the chat said the ghost videos are the big hit. People like looking at videos, and that's one that is very realistic to me.
Very, very realistic.
The
Yeah.
reaction of those kids, dude, is just. I have daughters, right? So I honestly, I feel it. That
Yeah.
fear and that panic that set in on them when it happened is just terrifying. Luke, dude, another great week. We're back at it again in 2 weeks. We have one more week of kind of like free flowing stories. Then after that, we're going to try to tag them with topics of holidays for the remainder of the year.
Yeah. Yeah. It's gonna be intense.
It's gonna be a little bit of work, but it'll be fun. Like I said,
Yeah.
next week, 2 weeks from now will be I guess one of the last. I don't know. We might share some random ones still, but it's gonna be the last last episode of the year, stream of the year that doesn't have a topic on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure we might have a hard time filling out an entire New Year's story, but
Yeah.
who knows? You might have one random one in there.
Yeah, might have to. But my point being, we're running down on like streams that aren't out of aren't topic set. So this is fun.
Definitely. And it's gonna be a fun rest of the year.
Appreciate all your support, of course. Go to yourscarystories.com, submit your stories there. Also links to social media there, and of course the audio and the video version of this. I've started getting some of the audio ones uploaded again, so I'm falling behind on the video ones again. What does this put me at? Too deep now? Too deep on editing? Put us too deep on editing,
Yeah.
I think. So I've just started that other edit. So yeah, we're gonna play catch up here. But I think in October we only have like one stream, right?
I think so because like maybe
Is there
it's two.
two? Yeah.
There's one in November, I think, because of holidays. And yeah.
We're gonna hit a point though where we're caught up a little. I'll get caught up a little bit, but
Yeah.
make sure you check out the live streams. Look at the schedule on the website and join us for those. That's the way to do it. And a lot of you had tonight. A lot of people on Twitter. Every platform's had somebody on. So everyone. So Twitter being the most like usual, but nice even distribution though. So we appreciate you joining us this evening. Luke, closing thoughts on this episode or any upcoming episodes?
Well, watch out for snake aliens. They might eat your cats. But besides that, yeah, I think just, keep an eye out for Night Stalkers too.
Yeah, lock your doors. Back then, though, people didn't always lock their doors. That's the crazy
No,
part.
yeah, I mean, you didn't think to. Now yeah, I always lock the door.
Yeah, growing up, I don't think my door was locked in my house, but now, oh yeah, for sure. Well, hey, appreciate you joining us, and of course, as always, keep being you and keep being great.
Jeff Townsend Media. CG, good night.
And the question is, do I stay here? Will you be back? Are you gonna come back? Will you be back? Are you coming back?